Elon Musk and 50 Cent just dropped a revelation that's shaking Hollywood at its core. You think Diddy is the ultimate kingpin? Think again. Diddy is merely the face of an empire hidden in shadows, a distraction while the real architect manipulates the game behind closed doors. If you followed the scandals in music and entertainment thinking you understood the hierarchy, you've been reading the wrong map this entire time. Elon isn't just tweeting anymore. Allegedly, he's collaborating with 50 Cent to reveal the truth. Names, recordings, and messages that could bring the world of fame and fortune to its knees. 50 Cent's latest documentary, The Reckoning, goes beyond parties and record deals. It exposes power, control, and the ways an entire culture was manipulated under the guise of entertainment. Before we climb this pyramid, context is essential. The Me Too movement revealed the tip of the iceberg, but the real depth of corruption runs far deeper. Comedians like Dave Chappelle have admitted to feeling trapped in the industry, comparing themselves to slaves moving from one plantation to another. If someone of his stature feels that way, imagine the levels above him, the silent rulers whose reach is untouchable. 50 Cent stayed silent for years, not out of fear, but because the silence itself enabled the monsters at the top. He realized that speaking up was no longer a choice if the integrity of hip-hop culture was at stake. And then the revelations emerged: hidden cameras, private parties, blackmail. Sources claim Diddy's mansion had over 250 cameras installed, recording every interaction, creating a vault of control. Insiders like Jaguar Wright confirmed it wasn't mere entertainment. It was dominance, insurance against betrayal, a tool to shape behavior and silence dissent. The first layer of the pyramid includes figures like Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Jaguar Wright's interviews exposed a network of influence and intimidation, stories quickly buried and ignored. How do media outlets avoid questions about R. Kelly's history or Aaliyah without addressing Jay-Z's proximity? How do tragedies in the industry repeatedly go unexamined? Wright alleges a fist of tyranny punching through decades of careers, shaping narratives, silencing victims, and controlling legacies. Big L, an early supporter of Jay-Z, introduced him to key industry players, but soon after he was killed in a drive-by. Was it coincidence or was it a warning? Patterns emerge when looking at the victims and survivors connected to Diddy and other prominent figures. Untimely deaths, strategic legal maneuvers, and quiet settlements. Lawyers appear at precise moments, acting either as shields or instruments of concealment. Next comes the puppeteers of the entertainment world, names like Oprah Winfrey and Clive Davis. Revered and untouchable, yet their shadows extend over decades of scandals. Oprah's repeated connections with Harvey Weinstein, Clive Davis's mentorship, and alleged manipulations. Questions linger. How could careers be made and broken while the gatekeepers remain silent? How many tragedies were ignored under the guise of guidance and opportunity? The layers are chilling. Ray J. Bobby Brown's family, insiders hinting at cover-ups. The web grows denser. Deaths coinciding with career climbs. Power entwined with secrecy. And above all, someone legitimizes the monsters beneath. Someone trusted, untouchable, who shields chaos while preaching morality. At the top sits figures cloaked in respectability. Bishop T.D. Jakes, a spiritual leader with millions of followers, is implicated subtly in the patterns exposed by insiders. While preaching virtue, the evidence hints at his presence in networks of influence tied to the dark underbelly of entertainment. Celebrities, artists, and victims are all pieces in a puzzle larger than the public can imagine. Evidence exists, according to insiders. Former associates claim there are tapes, audio recordings, and witnesses ready to come forward. Male escorts, staff, and even celebrities corroborate parts of the story. Victims silenced years ago are now stepping forward, ready to reclaim their narrative. If the leaks are authentic, the network spans from penthouses to pulpits, a system bigger than anyone imagined, a monster whose reach eclipses Epstein's shadow. Elon Musk holds a wild card in this story. Ownership of social platforms and access to decades of communications allegedly allows him to pull back the curtain on the empire. The pressing question isn't whether Diddy controlled Hollywood, but who controlled Diddy? Who orchestrated loyalty, created fear, and maintained secrecy while the public adored the glamorous facade? As the pyramid begins to crack, the patterns become impossible to ignore. The lowest layers reveal indulgence and influence, the middle manipulates outcomes, and the top watches silently, untouchable, orchestrating chaos. The industry is poised on the edge of exposure, and the first cracks are starting to show. The pyramid doesn't stop at the surface. Once you pass Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce, you enter the middle layer. The enforcers, the loyal soldiers, and the artists who unknowingly became cogs in a machine far larger than themselves. This is where loyalty is currency, fear is leverage, and silence is bought with golden contracts and career-making opportunities. 50 Cent revealed in interviews that many artists sign deals without fully understanding the strings attached. "You think you're signing a record deal," he said, "but really you're signing away your autonomy." Those contracts are more than paper. They're tools of influence containing clauses designed to dictate behavior, control narratives, and ensure compliance. Refuse and the consequences aren't just financial. Careers evaporate, reputations crumble, even threats to personal safety emerge. Insiders confirmed that Diddy was the public face, but the enforcement came from a network of middlemen, managers, bodyguards, lawyers, and business associates who were meticulous in their roles. No step went unmonitored. Every party, every meeting, every collaboration had eyes and ears. One former assistant revealed that she knew artists were being recorded, yet feared coming forward because her family's safety was at stake. "It wasn't paranoia," she said. "It was real." The enforcers' reach also extended internationally. Touring artists reported that logistics teams and local promoters were quietly aligned with the network, ensuring that every appearance served two purposes: profit and control. Even seemingly innocuous interactions were strategic. A dinner could be a test of loyalty, a tour a lesson in obedience. Those who resisted were quietly isolated, sidelined, or publicly humiliated. Elon Musk's involvement begins to make sense here. With access to communications spanning decades, the middle layer's movements, agreements, and clandestine operations could all be traced, seeing the infrastructure supporting the monsters at the top. Musk's sources claim he possesses emails, voice messages, and even video files that demonstrate the systemic manipulation of careers and lives. 50 Cent's perspective is especially chilling. He described a system where artistic freedom is secondary to compliance. Hip-hop, once a culture of rebellion and authenticity, became a carefully curated performance designed to perpetuate the pyramid's control. Collaborations weren't about creativity, they were transactions. Friendships weren't organic, they were contracts in disguise. Betrayal wasn't just personal, it threatened the stability of the entire network. Then there's the human cost. Artists pushed to extremes, subjected to psychological manipulation, isolation, and intimidation. Some were forced into situations that compromised their dignity. According to multiple sources, drug distribution, orchestrated scandals, and public feuds were tools used to maintain dominance. The middle layer executed these strategies meticulously, ensuring that the facade remained untouchable while the public remained oblivious. Diddy's role in this layer is fascinating. While he was the charismatic front, insiders claim he acted almost as a shield for the true puppeteers. He maintained the image of control while executing instructions from above. Every publicized conflict, every headline-making feud, and every red carpet smile served as camouflage for the deeper operations. It wasn't just power, it was a distraction. A shocking revelation involves artists who disappeared or were blacklisted, names long whispered about in conspiracy circles. Tragic fates, unaddressed scandals, and sudden career deaths all tie back to this middle layer. Those who attempted to speak out found themselves isolated, their allies quietly pressured, and opportunities vanished. Fear became currency, and loyalty became survival. The middle layer also monitored personal relationships. Insiders report that Diddy and his associates had extensive files on family members, romantic partners, and close friends of artists. This network of information acted as leverage, ensuring that compliance extended beyond professional boundaries into personal spheres. Anyone who tried to escape the web risked consequences that went far beyond lost record deals. Elon Musk's and 50 Cent's expose hints at the systemic precision of this layer. Evidence suggests coordinated operations that span decades, using technology, human surveillance, and financial manipulation to maintain the pyramid. For decades, it operated in plain sight, protected by glamour, fame, and carefully curated public images. Now we ascend to the top. Beyond Diddy, beyond the enforcers, lies the true architecture of power. The shadow figures whose identities are rarely known to the public, whose influence stretches across continents, industries, and governments. These are the individuals who operate in darkness, orchestrating deals, controlling narratives, and ensuring that the pyramid remains impenetrable. Elon Musk calls them the untouchables, and insiders warn their reach is bigger than anything Hollywood has ever seen, bigger even than Epstein. Diddy may have been a kingpin in plain sight, but the architects above him move in absolute secrecy. Their methods are surgical. They manipulate not just careers, but markets, legal systems, and media coverage. They own or influence tech companies, record labels, private security firms, and even political entities. One source described them as ghosts who never appear, yet leave fingerprints everywhere. 50 Cent exposed a chilling pattern. These top-tier figures rarely interact directly with artists or the public. Instead, they operate through layers of intermediaries, Diddy and his enforcers being just one part. Show contracts, meetings, and even social media narratives are orchestrated to maintain the illusion of independence while ensuring obedience. One wrong move, and an artist's world could implode without warning. A critical revelation from Musk's leaked files reveals how surveillance plays a pivotal role. Every phone call, email, and text message was reportedly archived, indexed, and analyzed. Those who resisted the system were flagged early. The middle layer executed strategies to correct behavior, while the architects ensured long-term compliance. They didn't need to confront anyone personally. The system was self-sustaining. The stakes extend far beyond entertainment. According to insiders, the architects also have ties to financial institutions, lobbying groups, and high-level politics. Their influence isn't just about fame or money, it's about control. One whistleblower claimed that entire media narratives, election campaigns, and corporate mergers were subtly steered to benefit these hidden figures. In this ecosystem, Diddy was merely a visible node, a public face for operations that could span billions. 50 Cent's testimony is striking. He described the tension of navigating the middle layer while remaining ignorant of the full hierarchy above. You could feel the hand, he said, even when you didn't know who was holding it. Every move you made was anticipated, every success calculated. It's like being in a game where the board is tilted and the rules keep changing. Diddy himself, insiders suggest, understood he was expendable if needed. While he wielded immense power publicly, privately he was acutely aware of the architect's supremacy. Multiple sources recount moments of extreme caution. Closed-door meetings where instructions were delivered indirectly, conversations in coded language, and strategic alignments that no one outside the inner circle could decipher. Even a superstar's ego had limits when confronted with a system designed to suppress rebellion. The network's darkest elements, according to leaked files, involve human trafficking, covert funding, and exploitation. While Diddy's public controversies might seem extreme, they are reportedly minor compared to the operations of the architects. Musk claims to have documentation showing these individuals leveraged wealth, influence, and technology to evade scrutiny for decades. The revelations are explosive: secret offshore accounts, coordinated media silencing, and links to other high-profile scandals that connect multiple continents. 50 Cent's words echo the gravity of this reality. People think celebrities are untouchable. They're not. They're chess pieces. Every collaboration, feud, or endorsement deal becomes a calculated move, with artists unwittingly serving strategies devised far above their comprehension. The architects remain invisible while their puppets, like Diddy, execute commands under pressure of fame, fortune, or fear. One of the most unsettling findings involves psychological control. According to multiple sources, the architects employed behavioral manipulation, using fear, rewards, and social influence to maintain compliance. Isolation, public humiliation, and strategic career destruction were common tactics, executed not by the top themselves but by the middle layer, a self-sustaining mechanism of obedience. As this layer's power unfolds, a chilling conclusion emerges. The system is designed to perpetuate itself indefinitely. It is adaptive, resilient, and invisible to outsiders. Yet the leaks from Elon Musk, coupled with 50 Cent's testimonies, suggest cracks. Every exposed email, recording, and first-hand account brings us closer to seeing the full structure, exposing monsters who have remained untouchable for decades. The deeper the investigation went, the more shocking the parallels became. Insiders, documents, and whistleblowers all pointed to a disturbing truth. The structure above Diddy bore uncanny similarities to Jeffrey Epstein's network. Offshore accounts, private islands, discreet flights, and a system designed to shield perpetrators from legal consequences, the patterns were almost identical. Yet this time, the network's scope was exponentially larger, involving multiple industries, global finance, and public influence on a massive scale. Elon Musk's leaked files revealed encrypted communications referencing both financial and human assets. These files indicate that some high-profile gatherings, ostensibly for entertainment or investment purposes, doubled as control mechanisms, a way to ensure loyalty, intimidate potential whistleblowers, and maintain secrecy. Musk described it as a game of chess played in shadows where the board spans continents. 50 Cent, who had seen the system from within, corroborated this. It's not just about money, it's about leverage. You control someone's image, their opportunities, their relationships, and suddenly you control them entirely. These tactics mirror Epstein's manipulations, but on a scale that was previously unimaginable. The architects were masters of invisibility, using fame, power, and public fascination as a cover for their operations. What made this network even more dangerous was the integration of technology. Social media algorithms, real-time surveillance, and data analytics allowed the architects to monitor behavior, anticipate moves, and silence dissent before it surfaced. One whistleblower described it as a feedback loop of obedience, where even minor deviations from expected conduct were detected and corrected through subtle, systemic pressure. Diddy's public controversies, once perceived as personal failings, now appeared as part of a carefully orchestrated mechanism to enforce compliance. Musk and 50 Cent worked together to map the connections. Every link exposed, from private contractors to offshore holdings, from tech intermediaries to legal firms, revealed a complex web of influence. The network was not just a criminal enterprise. It was a global control machine, leveraging wealth, fear, and fame to ensure the architects remained untouchable. One of the most explosive discoveries involved financial transfers disguised as legitimate business deals. According to Musk's investigation, billions of dollars moved across continents under the guise of music, tech investments, or charity work. Behind the curtain, these funds facilitated covert operations, bought silence, and financed private security networks that enforced compliance. 50 Cent's testimony brought human consequences into sharp focus. Artists, executives, and insiders described being pressured into impossible decisions, coerced into loyalty, or isolated to maintain the system's integrity. Some broke under the strain, others complied, fearing destruction of their careers or exposure of secrets that could ruin them personally. The architects never needed to appear. Their influence was embedded in every interaction, every contract, every whisper of gossip. As the investigation progressed, the parallels to Epstein's network became unavoidable. Both systems relied on secrecy, power, and fear. Both used intermediaries to execute their plans while remaining shielded from scrutiny. But the architects above Diddy were bigger, more sophisticated, and embedded across multiple sectors. Their reach extended far beyond private islands or parties. It touched governments, financial markets, media conglomerates, and even technology platforms that billions rely on daily. Musk's strategy to expose them relied on transparency, whistleblower collaboration, and selective leaks to trusted media. Every revelation needed to be meticulously verified. The risk of retaliation was high, and the consequences for error could be catastrophic. 50 Cent, leveraging his credibility and insider perspective, became a public voice to validate findings and draw attention without directly naming individuals prematurely. Their combined approach aimed to dismantle the system layer by layer, ensuring that once exposed, the architects could no longer operate with impunity. The tension reached its peak when an insider close to Diddy provided corroboration of private meetings, showing direct links between him and multiple shadowy operators above. The documents detailed directives, warnings, and transactions, a blueprint of the control network. What had seemed like rumors or conspiracy now appeared undeniable. As the world watched, Musk and 50 Cent began revealing fragments of this truth. Publicly, it appeared as rumors and hints. Privately, it was a meticulous, coordinated effort to unmask the monster, revealing how fame, money, and secrecy can mask horrors on a scale even more terrifying than Epstein's.